Tonight's edition of Arizona Giving and Leading looks at the increased interest in accountability from nonprofits. All nonprofits have a mission statement listing a variety of good intentions, but there's also a need to know if those goals are being accomplished. Joining us now is Ben Powers, president of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Greater Arizona Chapter. Maureen West, project manager of social impact measurement from ASU's Lodestar Center for Philanthropy and Nonprofit Innovation. And Lauren Schroeder, director of capacity building for the Alliance of Arizona Nonprofits. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Increased interest in accountability. It seems like that's going on out there. True?
Yes. In fact, there's a lot of pressure on nonprofits to be accountable. There's pressure, or there's interest from funders, there's interest from even the clients want to know that the work is successful. Funders, board members, everyone wants to know that there's a good return on investment.
As far as evidence that proves a nonprofit is effective, what kind of metrics are out there?
Well, every nonprofit has a mission and a vision, and it should lay out exactly what they want to see in the world and how they're going to make that happen. And do they do that? I mean, at the end of the day, do they measure against what they set out to do? We want to feed so many people. We want to educate so many people. We want to have so many art shows. We want to do whatever. Did we do it?
Yeah.
Did we do it efficiently?
And when you measure in that light, clarity of objectives got to be key, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You really have to understand your mission. You have to understand what your main focus is, and you have to understand what you're hoping to accomplish. You have to know what your social impact will be, and that's really what you want to be going after. The problem, the real challenge for nonprofits, they want to improve their programs. Funders want them to show accountability, but a lot of them don't know what to measure and how to measure.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. How do you know if something somewhat amorphous out there as far as doing good for this, as opposed to putting on certain types of things that can be met? Some of the stuff can't be measured.
Well, I see it as there's three buckets. There's how much did the program or organization do, the number of clients served, the number of services provided, the number of trainings held, and then there's how well did they do it? What was their completion rate? What was the efficiency? How long was the wait in the waiting room? And then there's the impact of that. And so those first two buckets, they're the easiest to measure. They know what they did. And then it gets a little harder to know, well, how well did you do it? But that big one is what difference was made.
But you have to find out what that outcome is in the first place, don't you? And those metrics have to be there to a certain degree.
Right. And at Lodestar, we've just created 2 new programs just built around these social measurements and how to do them. And the programs are both for groups who need help, because a lot of times there's a culture change that's required in order for a group to even approach this. And then we have another program just for individuals on the tools. So we're trying to provide the knowledge and tools that will help people know how to measure their social impact.
Yeah, and I would imagine anecdotes, which at one time may have been a good thing, maybe not so good anymore.
Well, anecdotes are certainly good. I mean, but that's not all there is.
Right.
I mean, we have access to lots of data now that we didn't used to have, massive quantities. And sifting through that is difficult, but it's well worth the effort.
But Ted, the anecdotes still are good, because even when you do an evaluation or you're measuring social impact, you want the human side. You don't want to just collect numbers. In fact, you can find out what happened through those numbers. But if you want to find out why and how things happen, you really need to talk with the clients. And out of those conversations, you get good anecdote.
Difference between smaller nonprofits and big money groups? What's out there? What do you see?
There are big differences. I think the smaller and medium-sized nonprofits have the most challenges, actually. And my advice for those groups, besides taking our programs, which are wonderful, is to ask one simple question. Even of your major program or any program you want to start, ask, what does success look like? And then build programs, or look at the programs you have in place and make sure you have measurements that measure that success. One problem with too many mid-sized and small nonprofits is they aren't measuring the right things, and they're not using the data that they're collecting. Our approach is that you should only collect data that you're going to use.
So, and before we go then, last question. Bottom line for nonprofits, what do they need to know as far as measuring success and knowing that they're doing what they're set out to do?
I think they need more education, and that's what our center, obviously the ASU Lodestar Center, provides education, and we're here for them, for knowledge and to provide the tools.
Agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll stop it right there
That
then.
sounds
Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it.